My best friend is here. Frank is here. And I see my mentor here, Mr. Strong. So excited to see you here this evening. It is Friday night, and we're going to have a great conversation. Yes, tonight is all about having a great conversation about your productivity system, not mine, yours. So, this is all about you tonight. And I want you to relax and I want you to answer some questions for yourself as we go through this. And I'm going to do my first thing and I'm going to try my best to put some people up on the screen and see if I get it to work and see if you can read that. That's my mentor there, y'all. I want to just shout him out, Mr. Strong, Walter Strong from the Huddle and the Huddle community. Always teaching, always giving master classes. So I thank you for showing up, and I know I look forward to your feedback. Of course, I said that my really good friend Louise is here with us all the way from South Carolina. Welcome to tonight. And then we have my brother here who's always here to support. Joshua, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And my best friend in the world, Frank, is here this evening. So I'm so excited to have y'all join me on this little conversation. Tonight, we're going to talk about getting started with where to get started, right? With elevating your productivity system. We all have something we use. Every adult has something, even if it's just in our head. We have something that we use. And I'm about elevating your productivity system that's personal and purposeful for you. It's about creating value in your life. And last week, we talked about we all have friction in our system. I shared earlier this week that I found a little point of friction in my system and was able to remove it. So tonight I'm going to share a little bit about how I go about doing that, and hopefully you can take some actions out of it. The takeaways will be worth it to you to use in your own system. So here we go. We're going to talk about 3 steps that you can take, and they're probably different than what you think. I don't want to start with tools because there are tools and methodologies galore. You open up any app store, the Google store, the iPhone store, any store, and you type in productivity and you will get literally thousands of applications. So that's not the answer if you don't have the basics down. There are many, many different methodologies. We've heard of them, the Eisenhower Matrix. Eat That Frog, Brian Tracy, GTD, David Allen. All of them are phenomenal. They are absolutely phenomenal. And they do work. But they work when they work for you. And you've made the tweaks and you understand what it is you want to accomplish with these systems and these tools that you have access to. So I don't start with tools. So if you came for tools, let me know. Put something in the chat and let me know. And oh, by the way, go ahead and hit the like button. Let's let YouTube know that we're bringing value as a community to the wider YouTube audience. Because it's not just me. It's you all who are showing up. So awesome. Why am I on mute again? I'm talking and nothing is muted. And I'm getting sound. I'm going to double check my microphone. That's the right microphone. So if somebody put in chat and make sure I'm still not muted. Can you hear me? Let me know, somebody. I'm seeing 3 likes. So somebody can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you. I was like, I did not mute myself again already. I tried to make changes so I wouldn't do that. But I'll get this. I'll get this technology straight, y'all. I will learn. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about these things, and I'm going to get right into it now. And the first thing is something that we know, and that is audit your system. Conduct a system assessment. What do I mean by that? Well, we all know when we want to correct something, whether it's our health, our weight, our eating, anything, we have to figure out, where am I? Where am I? What's going on? The things that I would encourage you to look at is, where do you keep all your stuff? When you have brainstorms, when you have reminders, where does it all come from? What comes in email? What comes in text message? What comes in paper mail? What comes out of your brain? What comes out of Slack? What comes out of all of the places that you have to communicate? And then I'm going to challenge you to look at it from multiple fronts. One is your personal, in your home with yourself and your family. The other, look at it from your business or your job. Where does all the stuff come from? Because one of the things I found in my system is when I didn't pay attention to where all the things came from, then I got stuck because I was only collecting part of the information that I needed to make a real decision, which is going to be the next point because I showed you. But collect all those places. And I'm going to say, don't just think about them, write them down. Whatever you currently use today, don't change it. If you use sticky notes, make a bunch of sticky notes. If you use a notebook, get a sheet of paper in your notebook and just make a list. Where does all the stuff come from? Where are all these buckets that all this information is coming to me? Ideas, actions, commitments, meetings, calls, Zooms. Lord knows, Zoom on. How many Zoom meetings did you have today? Teams, all the places that the stuff is coming to you from, get it all down on a list. And then look at it and decide, make sure you have a full inventory. Remember, you're one life, you're not multiple lives. So you've got to pull everything together so you understand where it's coming from and you can truly assess what you have in front of you. Absolutely, Google Docs is a great place. A Word document, an Excel spreadsheet, there is no one right answer. It's just what works for you. But get it all down. If you haven't done that assessment, start with doing an assessment. Make that your first action step, an assessment to know what you have. And once you do the assessment, you may surprise yourself. I remember when I started doing this and I saw all the different places where stuff was coming from and I wasn't pulling it into one place where I could manage it. Let me just say this, I wanted to cry because there was stuff everywhere. I had things in Slack. I had stuff in Teams. I had stuff in Google. I had stuff in email. I had stuff on my phone, multiple phones, y'all, because I got more than one, multiple phones. I had information coming, stuff out of my own brain, like I said, coming at me from every which way, and I could not keep it all together. The other thing that it'll help you do is do something that, hey, Audra, nice to see you in here. Nice to see you. Great, great. Audra just turned 21. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. But that's the place to start. It's really, if you dig in, any time you want to make an adjustment, do the work to assess because it'll show you what you have. It'll show you where your gaps are. So what do I mean by where your gaps are? If you were paying attention to email primarily and you were ignoring text messages in your phone, but the text messages came with a lot of to-dos or follow-ups, or I need to get back to this person, or I need to respond to that, and you weren't capturing them. And if you're like my phone, my text messages roll off and then I'm really in trouble. So if you're not capturing that, that's a gap in your system. That's a gap where you're going to miss something that you really needed to take care of or you wanted to take care of. And it's really critical if you're talking about something that's important to you. Remember, productivity is about creating value. It is not about being busy. So if that stuff is stuff that you're needed to help you move forward and create value, then you've got to point of friction and you've got a gap in your system that you just didn't even realize was there. So, do your assessment. If you're committed, Team Live Tribe, if you're committed to doing an assessment, let me know in the chat. Put yes in there so I know that you're getting it and it's making sense to you and it's something that it's time for you to do. And it's not by the way, it's not a one-time action. I do assessments of my system regularly because it's easy to fall off the tracks. It's very easy and fall into, oh, I got stuff here, there, everywhere, and I haven't pulled it all together. So if you are committed, whatever you use, we're not talking about tools, we're just talking about what you're going to do. Get it done. Set a date for yourself to just sit down and just get all those places out. And while you're doing it, you're going to start thinking of new things that you want to accomplish. The next one is make a decision. Now, I can say make a decision, but what are you making a decision about? You're making a decision about, is this too many places? Do I need to reduce some of these places? If you are getting information from too many places and you've got them going into too many places, it's very, very difficult to keep track of it all. And what our mind does is stops trusting our system. And then it tries to take ownership back. Well, I told y'all, Swiss cheese brain over here, my mind take it back. Truly, big old holes. Stuff go in and out. I ain't gonna remember nothing. So make the decision when you look at it. If you've got 13 places where stuff is coming and you want to reduce it down to, say, half of that, 6 to 7, then your decision is, what are the very concrete steps I'm going to take to reduce this 13 places down to 6 to 7? You got to make that affirmative, intentional decision so that you're living on purpose. You're making an intentional action to take that friction point out of your system. It is just simple. It's making a decision. And then once you make the decision, whatever that is, for me, yes, Swiss cheese, brain, girl, Dawn, hey, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream and welcome Real Chicago Robert. So glad to have you in the house. This gentleman is a true pioneer and someone that I learned from. So thank you so much. Dawn, thank you for showing up today. And yes, I have Swiss cheese brain and I admit it. If I don't have it written down, I ain't gonna remember nothing. It's not gonna get done. I'm not gonna think about it till months, weeks later. So, yeah. So whatever that decision point is, and I would say make a decision there. The other thing is you've now identified gaps. If you weren't aware that stuff was coming to you, information was coming to you, commitments were coming to you from a place that it just wasn't on your radar, now you've got a gap. So the next decision you want to make is, what do I want to do about this gap? How do I want to handle it? How do I want to fix it? How do I want to close it? And it could be very simple. I'll give you an example from me. I was not really good, and this is the friction that I identified this week, at always tracking when I expected to get a response from someone. So I would put something out and I would be looking for a response. And I wasn't tracking it. So what I did this week, that was the decision I made once I made the assessment and recognized it, because it would be weeks later, days later, and I'd be like, oh, so-and-so didn't get back to me. So now I've created my own problem. What I did was started putting a task. If I ask someone to do something, I just put a task in. ETR, expect to receive a reply, put a date, and from whoever it was and what it was about. Very simple. ETR, I expect to get this letter. I expect to get a yes or no or a quote or whatever it is I'm looking for. And every day now, this week, I've just been practicing this week. I see that on my main tracker for the day, so that I don't forget that I'm waiting on a response from someone else. Just whatever that little decision is, I didn't make a wholesale change. I made one little change in my system, but it made a difference. The next thing is, after you've made the decision, you want to execute on that decision. And once you execute on it, you want to review your results. Did the decision you did it result in any material difference for you? Did it make it better? Did it cause you less stress? Did you find that you were getting information back more consistently because you weren't forgetting to follow up, or you weren't forgetting that you were looking for it? Did you have fewer places to look? Those are all things that can come out of when you do your assessment, and we're going to summarize here shortly because I ain't keeping y'all all day. If you have a question, throw your question in the chat, because this is a conversation. And Walter, thank you. Great takeaway. I am so glad that it is a great takeaway and a tip for you on waiting for a response from others. Because honestly, how many of y'all wait for stuff from other people? I have to wait for stuff from other people every day. I'm asking someone to get something back to me. Someone's promised to give me something every day. And I would forget about it. And 3 weeks would go by. And now what I need to do is in crisis mode. And now I got to chase the person down. That was my fault. I did it to myself because I did not do the assessment and figure out what I needed to change in my own system. So review your results, because if you do the assessment, you make the decision on what you want to change and how you're going to do it. Then you need to be able to go back and say, well, is this working? Is it not working? Do I need to tweak something else? You know, I've told you I'm doing this expect to return for a week now. So in about another week, I'll look at it and say, okay, did I end up getting better results? Did I not let things fall off the tracks? Did I stay on track with what I needed to get done and followed up with people, because those people don't always, let's be honest, they don't always have a system that works. I know too many people, and I have talked to too many people who, oh, girl, I forgot. I'm retired. If I don't feel like doing it, I'm just not going to do it. That's what happens. But in the meantime, you made a commitment to get something done. And because the person doesn't live, they're retired. They want to do what they want to do when they feel like doing it. I get it. But that doesn't mean if you're relying on them, that you don't have to do something to prompt them. But if you don't have a way of tracking it, you can't prompt them. If it's reducing, like I said, I gave you a couple of ideas. If you have any ideas, Live Tribe, go ahead and drop it in chat. What's one thing that you think that you can think of top of mind right now that you want to look at and make a decision about? And thank you, Josh. Real Chicago said he's impatient when it comes to waiting for responses. You have a huge sense of urgency. I love it. Okay, well, maybe I should have came to you when I figured out that I had a problem and I was not tracking all of these responses that I was expecting from people and getting my own self in trouble. So I should have came to you and asked a question. But review those results so that you know where you are making progress. Now, everybody who's looking at this video is not watching us here. They're not in our live conversation. So if you're not in our live conversation today and you're part of our replay crew, share anyway. Put a note in the comments. Let me know what's resonating and ask your questions. I want to answer your questions because, again, this conversation is about you. I want to be here to answer your questions and give you advice. I've just been practicing these skills for a long time. I don't call myself anything other than a practitioner because I'm practicing and I'm improving and elevating every day, every week, along with other people that I'm working alongside and working with. So you can use this as this is our lab, right? It's our institute, it's our workshop. We're in the gym, we're in the locker room. Huddle community, we're in the locker room putting the work in right now. What's going to come out on the other side of the work we're putting in is the value that we create. That's our productivity. That's what comes out on the other side. And it again, it's not just business, it can be business. You could be somebody like Real Chicago who's a filmmaker. You're creating more films, you're doing more colorist things you do. You know, you could be like Dawn, who is a phenomenal nurse. So you're taking care of patients and you innovate something that's going to make a material difference in the way that patient care happens. You could be like my best friend who knows more about how certain portions of our U.S. system work than I care to even think about it. It makes my head hurt. But you're innovating something to make a real difference in the lives of people here in our country. So it doesn't matter what it is, but get your tips down and share them and be committed to your own elevation. Just be committed to your own elevation. If you're getting value tonight, I'm going to ask you, if you haven't already, go ahead and share this content with someone else, subscribe to the channel. It's Equip Institute. Louise, how do you apply this to your hubby? Oh, to your hobby? You didn't say hubby. It's girl, I can't see. Got glasses on, still can't see. To your hobby. It works exactly the same way, Louise. You just decide, you look at, okay, my hobby, what I'm doing, it's where I'm creating value in my life. Are there things that I'm in this hobby that are places where I can make a material difference in what I'm doing? I know, Louise, you do a lot of graphic design work. Maybe it's something like how you're organizing your graphic design work. It could be just as simple as that. I also know that you're a public speaker and you're getting ready to give a presentation that's coming up. Maybe it's how you're putting your presentations together. Maybe it's how you're getting your bios out to the people who are asking you to come and speak. So it absolutely can apply to your hobby. It applies to, again, retirees. It applies to everyone. It's not just those people who get up and go to a 9-to-5 or have a business that they're running every day. Many of you who are on with us today, you're running your own business. You have a family, you have a home. All of these skills apply in your life. Again, you're one life, and they apply across the totality of your life. So, in summary, what we're going to do coming this week, we're going to conduct a system assessment. Look at what you got going on. Take a look and make a list. Wherever you want to make that list, on a whiteboard, as long as you make a list in one place of all of the places you got stuff coming in, so that you can see that you're not missing something, or you can see that you hadn't thought about it and you were missing something, right? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to make a decision on a small change. It's something that's easy to do. It's also something that's easy not to do. Yeah, I told you I could rationalize anything, right? It's easy for me to rationalize eating a pound cake. It's also easy for me to rationalize not to eat that pound cake. It's a decision. So for you, what is that small thing that you're going to do? Is it reducing the buckets that you have information coming in? Is it changing one small portion of how you handle your commitments? Louis, do I offer system assessment services? Josh, you're funny. You're funny. I'll tell you what, if you think you need help, reach out to me. Everybody here knows, just reach out to me. You can hit the email in the description down below. You can reach out to me however you want. You can put a comment in and let me know how to reach you on social media, whether it be Twitter or LinkedIn. Those are the two that I primarily use, Twitter and LinkedIn. You can do it that way. You reach out to me. We'll talk. And I can, give you the benefit of what I've done and how I've worked through it. And the last thing you're going to do after you make that decision and implement it, you're going to go for a week to 2 weeks, and then you're going to come back and review the results of the change. Again, you're doing a cycle if you haven't figured it out. Because once you do your review, that gives you an opportunity to go back and do another assessment. Because if the review reveals that you still had a problem, then you can do another assessment and you keep going through that cycle. This has nothing to do with applications or tools or methodologies other than being very intentional, being purposeful about what you're doing in your system. All of your commitments, all of your to-dos, all of the things that you tell other people you do, all the things you tell yourself you want to do, to create value, whether it is health, business, ministry, content creation, hobbies, your job 9 to 5, whatever that happens to be. You are creating an environment for you yourself to determine how and where you want to make changes. And those small changes are what will begin to elevate your productivity, because in step by step, as we go through this process, you will begin to see where you are elevating, what you're getting done, what you're accomplishing, and how much more you can create. Y'all, you folks here with me, you're creators. Almost everyone here tonight. And if you're not here tonight and you're with the replay crew, you're going to create, and you are creating something, whether it be a fabulous meal. Hello, somebody. We got some folks we know who make fabulous meals, whether it's design, whether it's a solution for someone, whether it's instructions for someone, whether it's a master class, you're creating. You'll begin to see where you make changes in your own productivity, right? Getting things done, not just being busy. Because we all can be busy every day and get absolutely nothing accomplished. But where you are elevating your productivity. So y'all, we're at top of the hour. Curry family, thank you for joining us. Thank you for saying that you love this content tonight, the information that we've shared, this conversation. I thank Louise and Josh and Mr. Strong who joined us, and in Real Chicago. And Dawn, thank you all. Frank, I love you. So thank you guys for showing up. And again, the replay crew, hit me up. Ask your questions. Let me know how it's going. Through this week until next Friday when we come back together, feel free to let me know how it's going. Did you get your assessment done? Did you make your decision? You don't have to tell me what your decision is. That's personal to you. If you want to, you're welcome to. I'm not saying tell me what your decision is. And then in about 10 days, we're going to maybe figure out how well that's going for you. So if you have enjoyed tonight, we're at 7:00. Thank you for watching. We're working to be here every Friday at 6:30 to talk about purposeful productivity. And if you enjoyed our conversation tonight, you can go back to the conversation we had last week and check out finding the sources of friction in your system, because we all have a source of friction, and they're everywhere. When you start looking and seeing it, you're going to see these little places where, this is not working so well. So with that, I'm going to say good night. Y'all have a great weekend. Live Tribe, thank you for showing up, showing out, and supporting Replay Crew. I look forward to your comments. Good night, everybody.